Hi everyone, welcome to A Child's Life 100 Years Ago. This is a history program from the Raupp Museum in Buffalo Grove. My name is Debbie Fondre. I'm the museum curator and I'm the one who will be talking to you today. So let's get started learning. Where would I live? If you were a kid 100 years ago, in this area, you would live on a farm. Almost everybody lived on a farm. If you looked out your back door, this is what you would see. There would be barns for animals and also fields where you would grow crops. What kind of animals do you think lived in the barn? You can see the horse, but on a farm like this, there would also be cows and pigs and chickens. You would probably also have pet dogs and cats too. Can you see the fields in the back? The yellow arrow is pointing to them. Farmers would grow many different kinds of crops in their fields, including wheat, corn, and potatoes. All of those things would be growing in the fields behind the barn. Who would I live with? Children would live with their families on the farm. This is a picture of one farm family from 100 years ago. Farm families were big. Sometimes there were 8 or more kids in the family. Sometimes your grandma or grandpa would live on the farm too. Who do you live with today? Look at this picture and look at what they're wearing. How are these clothes different than the clothes you wear today? Do you think the family always dressed like this? Were they dressed up in fancy clothes just for this picture? What do you think? I think it might be fancy clothes just for the picture. If you look at those white dresses, you couldn't work on a farm in a white dress. And I think it would be hard to work in a suit, too, like the boys are wearing. Where would I go to school? Here's a picture of a classroom. You would go to school in a one-room schoolhouse. This meant that all the kids were in one room with one teacher. The same teacher taught first grade all the way up to 8th grade, all in one room. What about high school and college? Buffalo Grove and Wheeling did not have high schools yet, so many kids did not go to school after 8th grade. That was it. Instead, they stayed home to work on the farm. Wow, classrooms looked different back then. How is this classroom different from your classroom or classrooms you've seen in schools today? Are the desks different? The desks in that picture are all fastened down. What about the walls? The walls in that picture are pretty plain. Is that what school walls look like today? What do you think? Did kids work on the farm? They sure did. Everybody worked on the farm. Kids would help by feeding the chickens, planting seeds, weeding the garden, picking apples, milking cows, helping with the laundry, and taking care of the horses. You feel tired already, right? You would work on the farm before you went to school in the morning and after you came home from school in the afternoon. Farms were hard work. You can see somebody taking care of the chickens and gathering the eggs in the picture, right? That was important because eggs equal money. As a kid, one of your jobs would be to collect the chicken eggs. This was great. First, you could eat the eggs. Second, you could actually pay in eggs at the store. The general store in Buffalo Grove let you trade eggs for things at the store. So if you were good at finding chicken eggs, you could get more when you went shopping. Okay, so where did people go shopping? Right here. This is a picture of downtown Buffalo Grove about 100 years ago. There's not much, but that building on the left was the store. People went shopping at the Widener General Store. This was the only store in Buffalo Grove, and it sold everything. Boots, chocolate, hammers, ribbon, spices like cinnamon, dried fish, and candy. They would sell 6 sticks of candy, 3 for a penny. The store also sold ice cream, and it even had a telephone. It was a great place. What if you wanted something special? If you were shopping for something big or important, you had to go farther away. Farmers went to Libertyville and Arlington Heights for some supplies. They even went to Chicago for wedding dresses. Do you recognize this building? The building that the arrow is pointing to? It is St. Mary's Church, which is still in the same spot today. This is what it looked like 100 years ago. And if you drive by, that's what it looks like today. You might have seen it. What did people do to have fun? Did farmers have fun 100 years ago? Yes! Farmers went swimming, played baseball, played music, and went on picnics. In the winter, they would go ice skating. Sometimes there would be big parties to raise money for the school. Look at that, isn't that cool? Farmers could also listen to the radio. By 1920, most farms in Buffalo Grove had electricity. If you had a radio at home, it would look like this. Radios were much bigger then. The pictures show some of the other things people could do. Up on top, they're swimming, but you can see they're not swimming in a swimming pool. You would swim outside in rivers or creeks. And at the bottom, you can see people were playing baseball. They did that 100 years ago, all the way up to today. Where did the museum get all of these old pictures? Were cameras invented 100 years ago? Yes. That's how the museum got all of these pictures. People who were living then liked to take pictures just like we do today. They saved the pictures, and many years later, they gave them to the Raupp Museum. That's why we can tell this story today. Do you take pictures? What pictures do you think people would like to see 100 years from now? That picture of the camera? That's a Kodak Brownie box camera. It was a very popular camera 100 years ago. It was very easy to use, and it only cost $1, so almost everybody could buy one. You could buy one if you gathered up enough eggs on your farm, and you could trade for it at the general store. That's the end. Do you have any questions? Email us. Thank you for listening, and have a very nice day.